32 states. That cruise ship off the coast of California with at least 21 infected passengers and crew is finally coming to shore. But now there are questions about where to send all of those people.
Meanwhile, over in Italy, the government is resorting to a drastic measure. They're putting a quarter of the population on lockdown. Back here in the U.S., Washington, D.C. now has its reported first presumptive case, and New York's governor has declared a state of emergency. ABC's Stephanie Ramos is outside Columbia Presbyterian Hospital right here in New York City with more. Stephanie, good morning to you.
Dan, the epicenter of the virus here in New York State is just north of the city in Westchester County. One man from that area is being treated here at this hospital as officials from across the globe try to curb the spread of the virus. This morning, a scramble in northern Italy as officials order a lockdown. Nearly a quarter of the nation's population now under travel restrictions in a bid to slow the coronavirus. A U.S. sailor stationed in Naples, Italy, testing positive for COVID-19. The Pentagon also confirming a Marine stationed at Fort Belvoir in Virginia has tested positive as well after traveling overseas. And overnight, the first case of coronavirus discovered in the nation's capital, a man in his 50s.
He appears to have no history of international travel and no close contacts with a confirmed case.
In New York State, Governor Andrew Cuomo declaring a state of emergency. At least 89 confirmed cases of the virus statewide. 11 in New York City, including an Uber driver, a man in his 30s, hospitalized in Queens. Uber saying in a statement, it's removed the man's access to the app and it's working with public health officials. The governor blaming the federal government, claiming the state isn't getting enough money to fight the virus and there aren't enough tests.
CDC is a bottleneck for this nation in doing the testing. I believe the CDC was caught flat-footed. I believe they're slow in their response, and I believe they're slowing down the state.
The outbreak spreading from coast to coast. In Nebraska, medical personnel can be seen transporting one woman in an isolation pod who tested positive to the University of Nebraska Medical Center, where other COVID-19 patients are being treated. Thousands of people in the U.S. asked to self-quarantine. Our own senior foreign correspondent Ian Pannell is going through one right now overseas after reporting from Asia.
And this is it. This is quarantine. And it's a very, very strange experience. It's quite lonely. It's quite isolating. It's the right thing to do. There was no alternative. What I've realized, having covered this up close, is that unless we all act in the best interests of each other, then it makes containment all the more difficult.
The first batch of CDC testing kits went to California and Washington State. The CDC says initially there were some manufacturing issues with the testing kits, but those issues have been resolved. They say by Monday, an additional 600,000 kits will be made available to public health labs. Dan?
People very eager for those tests to get out there. Stephanie, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.